Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you a Dollar Tree Coastal DIY video. I couldn't help myself. I just loved everything that Dollar Tree has put out recently with the coastal nautical theme. So I'm going to start out by making these IOD molds for the bottom of her tail, just to give her some detail and dimension. I'm going to be using some air dry clay, but before I put the clay in there, I'm going to add some baking powder just so the clay can release easily from the mold. So I pick up this clay from Hobby Lobby, but I believe you can also get it from Amazon for like $14. And I couldn't find my my scraper that I usually use to flatten them out on top, so I'm just using this metal tag from Dollar Tree. So I'll lay them down and I'll cut off all the excess and add it to another part of her tail. So I'm gonna glue the clay down with this Gorilla Glue that I picked up at Walmart that I saw Zeb using from Jamie Ray Vintage. I liked because he said that it glues within seconds, which I really like, so we're gonna try it out. And on some of the parts where I pushed in a little too much on the clay, I just used the end of this shell just to bring back a little bit of detail, just so it doesn't look so flat. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and stain this board with some Waverly Antique Wax. I didn't mean for that much to come out. I didn't even realize it had that much in it. But I'm gonna go ahead and spread that out, stain the board, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a dry brush to it. And to wipe off any excess, I just use a baby wipe. And with very little paint on my chippy brush, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a dry brush effect. And here just gave my clay a little time to harden up a little bit. I'm gonna paint her with brown acrylic paint, and then I'm also gonna do a dry brush to this one as well. I believe the paint color is called Coffee Bean from Folk Art. I got it at Hobby Lobby. So I end up painting her all brown as well, and I use a baby wipe to wipe it back, any excess. And using this color shift paint I got at Walmart, I'm gonna go ahead and dry brush some of this on top of the white. I don't know, this color really reminded me of mermaids. Really out of my comfort zone to use color, but you gotta have a little fun sometimes. So my idea was to put her on that board that I stained and then add the stencil from Dollar Tree, but then I end up changing my mind and using some greenery instead. And here she is. She is coming to life. I love her. And using this little netting that the shells came in that I got at Dollar Tree, I'm just going to use it to paint in between. just to add a little detail to the end of her tail. And here I picked up these picks at Dollar Tree. I'm going to take them apart and glue them to the corner of the board, and then I'm going to add some shells right on top of that. And these shells I also picked up at Dollar Tree, and I start arranging them first before I glue them down. And so it doesn't look like there's any unfinished wood. I'm going to go ahead and stain the top of her hair as well, just because I want it to look finished. And right above where I puttied the little hole where the hanger was at, I'm going to add some little pearls just to disguise that. And moving on, I'm going to use the napkins from Dollar Tree, also the hooks, the pieces of wood I had left over for from some projects that I did. I'm going to go ahead and start off by painting them white, just a quick dry brush. I'm going to end up decoupaging over this with the napkins from Dollar Tree. So I really debated on leaving the hooks on or taking them off, but when I laid the shells down on the wood, they wouldn't lay flat because the hook wasn't flat, so I ended up taking them off. I'm going to go ahead and paint them gold. I'm going to use some Rub and Buff from Hobby Lobby. This stuff works awesome. You don't have to do too many coats. And it also dries really quick. So I'm going to start decoupaging with the napkins. I usually don't waste so much napkin, but the edges of this had like embossed little dots, and I wasn't sure if it was going to come out on or not. So I just ended up using one napkin on each board. Also, guys, before Mod Podging on the napkin, make sure you take off the second layer of the napkin. This was only a 2-ply, I believe, so I only had to pull off one back. And that's just a side note, just in case y'all decide to recreate. And using a sanding block, I'm going to go ahead and take off all the excess. I feel like I get much cleaner edges doing it this way. And using this Distress Oxide from Hobby Lobby, I'm going to go ahead and age up the edges. And then I'm going to go ahead and antique wax over the gold just to tone it down a bit. Lastly, I'm just going to use my IOD stamp and add some crackle effect to the back. I'll end up gluing these on with some hot glue and seal them up and set them aside to dry. Last DIY, also my favorite. I'm going to use a clock that was already broken. I just took off the pieces. I'm going to start off by painting it with this pretty blue color with some salt wash. I will list the color of the paint in the description box below. And while I set this aside to dry, I'm gonna use one of the Dollar Tree craft signs. I started out by giving it just a quick whitewash with a cream color paint. And before I glue anything down, I start to arrange my shells. Then I decide that I want to add some gold to it. I'm gonna use these gold. I'm not sure what the correct name, but they're called gold flakes. I'm gonna go ahead and do that to most of the white shells. I'm not sure the correct process to do this, but I will show you what I used. So I thought I had a clip of what I used, but here it is. I used these metal flakes from Dollar Tree for $3. Then I also picked up this tack that I already had on hand, and that also from Hobby Lobby. And then the blue paint that I use coming up is good. It's a deco art. I think it's called vintage or retro. Really pretty blue. I got that on clearance a couple weeks ago. So I start off by giving the shells a quick spray of the Easy Tack, and then I add the metal flakes right on top. I use this little brush just to brush off any of the excess, and whatever falls on the other shells, I just leave it on. Gets a bit messy, but I feel like the end result is so pretty. Next, I'm just going to start gluing these into place and just adding as I go, filling in all the blank spots. In the end, there were still a couple empty spaces, but I used these starfish that I picked up also at Dollar Tree just to disguise the little empty spaces there was. Then I use these pearls just to fill in a little bit more, and just to give it a little bit more interest. I feel like the metal flakes on those shelves just took this project to the next level. And these DIYs are a little bit lengthy, but sometimes crafting is a little soothing to me, so the long crafts really don't bug me. What do you guys think? How do y'all feel about these projects? I've never done coastal, but I don't know. I'm really loving it. And to finish up our board here, I'm going to go ahead and dry brush as I always do to bring back some of the detail. I'm also going to put some rub and buff to the ornate corners. And I'm also going to add some crackle to this one. These are the IOD stems. They're called vintage textures. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and glue my shells onto my blue board using some glue. I was a bit hesitant with using hot glue with this, but it actually worked really well. I'm going to add what I used on the next clip. All right, you guys. I just wanted to thank y'all so much again for being here. If you like what you see, please subscribe and follow for more. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.